Good afternoon. Second year Bcom Computer Applications, third sem Rdbms, అలాగే second year BA third semester Rdbms, relational model, data models and relational model. Today we discuss about relational model. What is relational model? What are the different tools used in relational model? What are the features, applications, and how to use relational model like that. So what is the data model? Starting with data model, a notation for describing data or information. Generally data models are used, means it is a notation or a process used to describe about the data or information. Generally consists of mostly of three parts: structure of the data, operations on the data, constraints of the data, like that. Structure of the data means data structures and relationships. Operations of the data means programming operations. Constraints on the data means describe limitations of the data, like that. Data models. So models have evolved like files, hierarchical, network, relational, key value, graph, document, array, and matrix. So today we discuss about hierarchical model. So this is about Dbms evaluation and relational model. So what is a relational model and how to use it? Relational model is very popular, provides program data independence, create a three-level architecture. So program data independence means, so what are the three levels of data views? Means view level, logical view, physical view, and data view. Physical view means data stored in files, location of files, indexes, storage, layout, like that. Logical view means definition of tables, attributes, constraints, etc. Conceptual view means what data is exposed to users, what are they allowed to see. So what are the three types of views, or what are the three types of data views or data levels? Three level architecture is, the first level is conceptual view or conceptual level, means in this what data is exposed to users, means how the users are viewed the data, and what are they allowed to see, means what they can access, what they can see from the data. All these are defined in conceptual view. Second one is logical view. Logical view contains definitions of tables, creation of tables, attributes means fields or columns, and their properties, maximum size, data types, constraints. Constraints means validation checks. Constraints means generally validation checks applied, like that. And physical view. In the physical view, data is stored in the format of files, and files, various file locations, directories, indexed files, and storage layouts, like that. All these are defined. So this is a three-level architecture. View 1 and view 2, table and storage. So in the view 1 and view 2 are directly connected with related with tables, that is logical view. And logical, from the logical view, physical view is evolved, and it is generally stored in storage media or storage concepts. So program data independence, logical data independence, modify table definitions without changing view, used in an application, add, drop, rename attributes from a table, rename a table. Physical data independence means modify the structure and organization of physical storage with changing logical schema, change the type of index, compress a table when it is stored on disk, move to a table to another disk or machine. So generally in physical independence or physical view, we may use it to create physical data on the storage media, and other files, other data files like indexes, and how the data is stored on the disks physically, and the machine. And in the logical view, how to modify table definition or alter table definitions or structure of a table, and adding, removing and renaming fields, columns, attributes from a table, similarly renaming a table, like that. So relational model. What is a relational model? So relational model and relations. Data are divided into two-dimensional tables called relations, each representing some type of entity recorded in the database. Each relation has a name describing what entity it represents. So relational model. In relational model, the data or information is represented with the two-dimensional or 2D tables or tables. It is also called as a table or a relation, each representing some type of entity recorded in the database. Each relation has a name, or a table has a name describing what entity represents it. So this is the example of a relation or a table. For example, SID, first name, last name, city, started. So columns in the relation or table, we have some columns or attributes or fields, and some rows or tuples are also there. A row or record is a collection of all the fields. And what is schema? Schema means name of a relation and name and type of each column and attribute. So what is a schema? Means schema is nothing but a description about the relation. Description about the relation or a table is called as a schema. Schema contains generally name of the relation, that is table, name of the table or name of the relation, and name and type of each column or attributes. Means it explains about all the details about columns or fields like SID, first name, last name, city, started, and their data types, means numeric, character, string, like that. So explain about all these things. That is called as a schema. Schema is nothing but name of a relation or a table and name and type of all the name and type of each column or attribute. Instance means row or records with values for each column. So this is the various terms used in a relation or a table. And columns are also called as attributes or fields, and records are also called as some tuples. So what are the properties of a relation? What are the different types of different properties of a relation? A relation is a set of records or a tuple. Means relation is nothing but it is a collection of some records or tuples. All rows are distinct. Order of rows doesn't matter. What about the columns? So generally all the rows or records are not arranged in a proper way. Means they are arranged in distance manner. Order of rows does not matter, and values in a record. Each column has a domain from which its values are taken. A domain consists of atomic value. No multi-valued or divisible attributes are allowed. Missing or unknown values are indicated by null. So generally in each record we have different columns, and each column has a domain. Each column has a domain. What is a domain? Domain is nothing but a collection of values in a field or column, and generally they have some values in it. And a domain consists of atomic value, means and similarly some values in the domain are null or blank or spaces. So what are the different types of typical domains? Means numeric values, domain values, or field values or field column values are generally have numeric values, character values, and string values, dates and times. Again, character strings are in two types, fixed length and variable length. Numeric values are different types like integers, fixed point values, floating point values, like that. So relation mathematical equivalence. Relation mathematical equivalence. A binary relation on a set of A is a collection of ordered pairs of elements of A. So relational model implementation. So how to implement relational model? So SQL, a language. What is SQL? A structured query language. It is a language for relational databases. Means SQL is commonly used for all Dbms or Rdbms or relational databases like MS Excel, anything. Generally SQL contains three types of commands: DDL means data definition language, DML data manipulation language, DCL data control language. And in relational model, DDL data definition languages commands are used. What are DDL commands? DDL commands are like creating, modifying, deleting relations or tables or databases, specifying constraints. Constraint means conditions. What are conditions or constraints? Constraints are nothing but some conditions applied to a record while inserting record in a database or a table, like not null or primary key, or some conditions, or some like that. And administer users and security and others. Generally DDL commands are also used to control various user level operations or user level operations, like and securities of the database, like that. And so DDL commands are mainly used to create, modify, delete relations, tables or databases. So creating a table. How to create a table? Create is the syntax is create table, some table name, attribute 1 space domain 1, attribute 2 space domain 2, like that, attribute n, domain n. You can list as many attributes and domains as you want, separated by commas. Domain, what is a domain? Domain is nothing but a collection of all the data or values in a particular attribute or a column. So what are the data types? There are many different types of data types are available in SQL, like char, number, numeric, decimal, char, varchar, date, object, like that. So SQL domains. So what is a domain? Different types of domain is nothing but it is a data type or some collection of values. So there are different types of domains, like numerical domains, like integer values, like numbers, number of n, number of x comma y, means numeric values, like integer values, floating values, real values. Like string domains means char data types. They are also called as data types. Char data type is an essay type question. Char of n means a fixed length character of n characters. Varchar of m means a variable length string or variable length characters. Dates in the form of DDMMYY or DDMMYY format. And so this is a simple example of student database, like last name, first name, student ID, program, city, started. So examples are like this: create table student, last name, it is a varchar of 40. What is the difference between varchar and varchar? Char is a fixed length record or a fixed length field. Varchar means variable length records. So last name is varchar of 40, first name is varchar of 40, SID, SSN, and SSN is a number of 9 digits, like that. So these are the record of various course data or a course table. Example is what is the course table? How to create a course table? Create table course create table course ID some number of 4, course name varchar of 40, department varchar of 4, course number char of 3. So these are the records from enrollments. So how to create enrollment table? Create table enrolled student ID number of 7, course ID number of 4, quarter and year. So populating a table. So what is a populating table? Means table operations. What are the different types of table operations? After creating a table, we may insert some records into a table. So how to create or how to insert records into a table means by using insert into table. Syntax is insert into table, insert into some table name, insert into some table name, values within brackets, some value 1, value 1 comma value 2 comma value 3, like that. Values of attributes must be given in the same order as in the schema. What is schema? Schema is nothing but the structure of the database table. What is schema? Schema is nothing but the structure of the database table, or structure of the database, or structure of the some data or information. So these are the examples of using insert into command. Insert into student values. These values are separated by comma, and the values are in the same order, should be written in the same order, or should be inserted in the same order as we write in table fields. So deleting tables. How to create how to delete tables? So deleting table, deleting entire table means drop table name, and deleting specific rows means delete from table name where some condition. So there are two types of tables, drop table and delete from table. Drop table is used to delete entire table, or drop table is generally used to delete all the records from a table, and delete command or a delete statement is used to one or more records from a given table by satisfying given condition. So syntax is delete from table name is student where some condition. So constraints, another frequently used and important term in Dbms or Rdbms is constraints or database constraint. So what is a constraint? Constraints are maintained by the Dbms. Domain constraints, all values of each attribute must come from the specified domain. Custom constraints means account balance must be positive. Example, integrity constraint means uniqueness association, like that. So what is a constraint? A constraint is a condition. Constraint is a condition given to a table or a database while inserting new records or columns or information into it. So domain constraints means all values of each attribute must come from the specific domain. Custom constraint means each example account balance must be positive. Integrity constraint means uniqueness and association. So there are three types of constraints. Integrity constraint means uniqueness, means unique constraint. It is called as unique constraint, means there is no repetition or there is no duplication of records. Custom constraint means account balance must be positive. Example, so custom constraints we may give some conditions like marks should not be greater than 100 or marks should not be less than 0, like that. Domain constraints means all values of each attribute must come from the specified domain, means it should be of same category, it should be of same type. Defaults and constraints. So after attribute and domain before comma, add default value for the attribute with default value. Default means we are giving some initial value or default value to it. Disallow null values with not null, means generally we may use we may not support null values or blank values or 0 values. And unique means it should be unique, or means it should be a single value and no repetition or no repeated values are there. And impose either other constraints with check constraints. Check constraint means here we may use some give some conditions like by using some check constraint. Example is check some marks less than 0, greater than 0 and less than or equals to 100. So generally these constraints are applied whenever a tuple or a record is added or modified. Whenever a new record is added or deleted, added or modified, it means updation of records or deletion of records. These constraints are applied. So example. So what is example? Create table some table name, last name varchar of 40 not null, first name varchar of 40, SID number of 5, SSN number of 9, unique, city varchar of 40, like that. Primary keys. So what are primary keys? A set of attributes in the relation may be defined to be the primary key. It must be a minimal set of attributes that uniquely identifies each tuple in the relation. Null values are not allowed in the primary key of a relation. Primary key means unique and not null. Primary key means it should be unique and it should not support or it should not allow null values. The primary key is underlined in the schema. So what is a primary key? A primary key is a key in a relation or a table defined as a primary key where it should be unique and it should not support null values or it should not allow null values. The primary key is generally specified with underline symbol, and null values are not allowed in the primary keys. And so example, create table course ID number of 4, comma course name varchar of 40, department varchar of 40, and course number char 3, primary key of CID. This is another example of using primary key and unique. This is another example of defining primary key and unique constraint. Foreign keys. So what are foreign keys? A set of fields referring to a tuple in another record must correspond to the primary key of other relation, like a logical pointer. Means generally foreign keys are referred. Foreign keys are used to refer. Some keys are primary keys. Some keys are some primary keys of the other table, or other records in the other table. So foreign key. What is a foreign key example? So SID, last name, first name, SSN. Here student ID, course ID, quarter, and this one. So here SID is generally referred to the student ID of another table. So this record or this value is referred to the other value in the other table. That is called as foreign keys. So example, this is the example for creating primary key, foreign keys. So thank you.